expect to get triggered, expect to be frustrated, expect to feel like my dream is too good to be true while you are in the midst of your quantum jump. So it's refreshing for me to honor that those moments of really deep frustration and not seeing the outside world reflect back to you what you've been working towards is gonna hit you in a new way when you are quantum jumping. If you're you're not watching this because you're watching this because you know what a quantum jump is, but let's just reflect on this. So quantum mechanics has this theory of the multiverse, right? That there's infinite potentials and possibilities of everything, meaning there's infinite potentials and possibilities of every version of yourself. But in a way, that is also just clear if we look at yourself. There is a 1-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 7-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old. There's every version of yourself within yourself that has been growing on this journey with you. Those parts of you haven't been cut off. Those are versions of you that are within yourself. And that is like a reflection of this multiverse within yourself. So what the whole point of this and why you are even here, the fact that you've even resonated to watch this video is because you are interested in aligning with one of your highest potentials. You are interested in becoming your greatest self. You are interested in illuminating and sharing your gifts with humanity. You are interested in no longer identifying with the program of smallness, the programs that we have learned from our past, and really stepping into your true self. And whatever that looks like, whatever that means, it means that you are shining because you are in alignment. There are no more veils. So right, source is like the sun. If we want to understand our spiritual nature, we just look to freaking nature to see the metaphors that life created for us to understand our own self. And we have this gem in our heart, right? Like this beautiful diamond, but it gets clouded and it gets veiled by old programs and egoic, ridiculous desires that I am clearly guilty of. I don't know if that's clear to you. It's probably not because you don't know me, but maybe you do. So we have all these things clouding this beautiful, precious gift we have inside. And the more we can polish it and the more we can work and the more we can like Windex spray and remove all that crap, that diamond within us, right, can then reflect the ultimate freaking source, which is the sun, and it can illuminate and it can shine. So what we are these mirrors, and the same goes, the same metaphor for a mirror, the mirror of your heart. Like if it's dusty and musty, it's gonna be clouded and veiled and we can't really see all those magnificent, amazing things that the sun is bringing in for us to shine back to others. So if you're here, we are here to amplify the shine of the diamonds within our hearts, okay? And to share that beloved light that comes from life and share that light with others. And that can look like so many different things and it's so different for each person. But on that journey, when we have made an executive decision to jump into our greatest selves, into our highest selves. And I also think if you are watching this video right now, it's because you're at a certain point in your journey where you are seeing some changes and reflections of aligning with this it's like if you pause right now and you write down, who is this version of myself that I'm working towards embodying? Who is this next chapter of myself? I guarantee you will be very freaking similar to that version that you are working towards becoming. So that is super cool. But I think it's important to know that there's going to be a level with certain things, a level of like, dang, am I that fragile? Like, did I really just get affected in this way by this corny freaking thing. Like, I thought I was leveling up. I thought I was stepping into this like stronger version of myself, yet I'm acting like a baby when something that's not even a big deal is arising in my life. So let's unpack that. There are going to be some things that taste and feel like your old freaking self. And oh my gosh, they are going to upset you. Like, there's a level of like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, I'm back in this. And you know it. You know, you can tell when you're seeing through the eyes of that past self. For me, it looks like I'm feeling sorry for myself. I'm not feeling open. I'm not feeling abundant. I'm feeling frustrated. Like, it's like it's just like this condensed thing within me. And the irony is it reflects in my sales. Like, every time I'm in it, it's just like, and it's like my ability to receive kind of, it just gets freaking blocked. So, you know, life gives me a big kind of mirror in that way, where there's this like reflection of money or sales involved. So I want to hold space for the pathetic trigger that didn't even have that, like, there was nothing that big of a deal, but because you have had glimpses of this bigger, better version of yourself, because you've been, you know, embodying this aspect of yourself, it's so much harder of a fall to go back to that old style of the way you used to see the world. And it might not even be anything that big of a deal. It just is like realigning with that freaking lower vibration is hell. And everything's okay around you. And you're still able to pay your bills, and this is fine, and nothing is actually even wrong. It just feels awful because you're in that lower vibration. And it affects you in a way that almost also makes you feel that much more fragile. Like, why am I'm like, it's like you get even more bent out of shape. So just giving space to that aspect of ourselves that are gonna feel some type of way when certain old vibrations come up. The other thing is, you're gonna have ghosts from the past come up. You're gonna have things that you did let go of come back up. And there might be moments where you indulge, but you will eventually X that thing out of your life again. This is also a normal thing that happens when we are leveling up, when we are manifesting to embody this greater version of ourselves. It's not like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. It's just really freaking important to know that, like, old things are gonna come up, old patterns are gonna come up, old X's are gonna come up. And you're gonna wanna touch your toe in it, because there's some freaking comfort and familiarity in that thing. And you're gonna touch your toe in it most likely. And you're gonna stand with your feet in the water of that thing for a little bit till you can no longer stand it, because you have moved on. You're just kind of going back. So going back to some old behaviors is also a normal part of your quantum jump, but it's cool because you're totally not going to stay there. And the reason I'm also talking about all these things is give yourself a freaking break. Fine. You went there, you did that, you acted that like that version of your old self. It's okay, because it's normal. This is like a part of a normal leveling up process. This is a part of your quantum jump, is this toggling between these two aspects of yourself. So I want to talk about this other aspect that is coming up and hijacks your reality, and like, it's funny because that part of you also, when you get really triggered by being that version of yourself or feeling through the eyes of it, it's like, I'm in the version of myself, my heart is closed, the doors are closed on my diamond, I'm not receiving things from the outside, I'm feeling ugly, I'm feeling this, there's all these things that it's, if you're like me, you get really frustrated and annoyed and like angry at yourself. And I have been realizing, basically I'm making this video because this is also something that recently happened to me. And I was like, okay, so this is there's the 6-year-old in me or whatever that is coming up. And I'm trying to like in my head work with her and like, you know, do the things that I know that can kind of seemingly connect and make her feel better. And it's just, again, I'm actually just really angry and annoyed and not fully kind of connecting with that version. So I was thinking about, you know, today with all the stuff coming up, and I was thinking about, so like, what advice am I going to give you? I'm not going to leave you empty-handed with just a bunch of like analytical, you know, stuff that we can all relate to and be like, yeah. And then now what? Because what is the point of you just continuing to be like, yeah, I know. I mean, that does make us feel better, right? Of like, oh, I relate to that. That does make me feel better. But now what? So I realized, and I teach this with my clients and a lot in my workshop, and it's one of the methods. So but if you don't know me also, I'm Cara Elizabeth. I'm the author, illustrator, and creator of Animal Apothecary card deck for manifesting, for healing, for overcoming tests and difficulties. I created it to overcome 18 years of PTSD from being molested as a kid. And my next deck, which is, I'm still in the birthing process, it's called Body Tech. And it is all about using the body to manifest and heal. So first we start with the animals and then we get into our bodies. So I choose who I am. This is what I want to teach you, and this is what I felt was a shift for me today, because that's the other thing, is like, when you're in it, when you're triggered by that old self, it is like sometimes like you do all the manifesting techniques, you do all the things, and you kind of slightly shift, but then you're back. It's like, but this thing I did today really kind of kicked me out of it in a new way. So this whole thing, see the eyes, see the hand, it is based in the EMDR technique. So EMDR is a bilateral eye movement. You're moving your eyes left to right, and usually it's for people that are having like a really hard time processing their trauma. Like they're not processing it. So this bilateral eye movement used when they're discussing their trauma is connecting your right and left hemisphere. It's working with your hippocampus to lower stress levels. It's almost like, think of like the hypnotist with the watch. It even has this kind of hypnotization of this right and left and right. It even connects to your vagus nerve, because it's all, I need to actually research that more, but that's what I heard, that EMDR, which can bring calmness to your entire physiology. But so for the past few years, I have been using this technique of EMDR and not to rehash my trauma. So this will give you some context for what I'm going to share. My trauma is from about 5 to 7 years old. My neighbor, who we all trusted, because it's always someone you trust. I guess I can already tell you know exactly what I'm going to say. He molested me. So my family didn't know, and you know, and then there were some other incidences as I got older with rape and other things. So So for me, I mean, that's my story, right? But I knew that the last couple days, because I'm coming from a place where I was starting to really see this momentum of the work that I've been doing and seeing little sprinkles of like, damn, it's working. And like, you know, it's finally nice when you get to that stage. But when you get thrown back in the old self, in the old view, in the old victim mentality, it is it's like, it's more hellish than it was before. Because at one point in your life, that was your status quo. That was your normal. That was your base freaking line. And your baseline is much higher now. So when you go to that, it's like you're going into hell because your baseline has just risen. When you go back to that old kind of way of seeing the light, it's just awful. So I'm realizing, okay, so if this is really me being pissed and angry and like reflecting on that, like I can't snap out of it. Okay, so this is the kid self. This is my 6-year-old self who's coming up, and me being pissed and angry at her. I mean, even if I can't identify that it's her, but just pissed and angry at myself isn't helping the situation at all. So I thought with this whole, you know, the EMDR thing that I do, that I've been using it to reprogram myself, and I use it to say really uplifting and powerful things. So just to give you an example, and the story's kind of roundabout, I'm bouncing all over the place, but stick with me. So the past couple of years, I've been doing this eye movement, and I've been doing it saying all the things like, this is what I've manifested, this, I'm so grateful for this, these positive affirmations, and I see it reflected in my outside world. And I recently added hand movements to it, because when we move our hands, when we move our fingers, it connects to the cerebral cortex, which amplifies our ability to just process things. So why not throw in hand movement while I'm like, wow, I believe in myself. I feel the most radiant and confident I've ever felt in my life. My health is like, whoa, I feel even younger. I feel even more energy. I'm able to just confidently use my voice. So whatever, I'll do stuff like that. About 3 minutes. And if you can get on a trend of doing this like every day for months, like you will change. You're just brainwashing yourself. So I thought, what if these old parts coming up need to be brainwashed too? If this is my 6-year-old self, she needs to be reprogrammed. So I'm going to say this, and I'm going to do this technique as my 6-year-old self. And I'm going to let her share what she wants to be when she grows up. So I start, and I'm like, when I grow up, I am da 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 da, and I'm saying these things, and it's all like, is this what I want, or is this what she wants? And it's kind of, you know, I'm not fully, but I keep going, and I'm saying all the things, and I keep repeating, when I grow up, I'm this. When I grow up, this, 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 this. And all of a sudden, out of my mouth, when I grow up, I'm protected. And even saying that right now, like, it like the ball of like, I'm like, okay, we did it. We went there. Like, this is happening. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, you gotta feel something. It's like, okay, it's working. And like, it's like when there is this, I guess, whoever I fell back into in the last couple days, it was like all these stories about whatever going on, and I'm closed and I'm shut down. And that the real story was that I don't feel protected right now. Sorry. I mean, I'm not sorry, but this is just how I speak. If the emotion's coming, I'm gonna just let it come out. And like, you know, as I was speaking, it's like, how do you even trust, like, how do you even trust life when you kind of, and like, I get it, like, my trauma could look so minimal to some people's horror in the midst of war, in the midst of all these horrific things. And I know it's not a comparison, right? But like, there's this hardcore, almost factual belief that like you're never protected, that like the most sick, twisted thing could happen to you at any moment, and that my parents didn't know, but like, your parents can't save you, your parents can't protect you, God, life, this thing ain't protecting you, and you can't protect you. So all this came up for me, and I'm like repeating this thing about protection, that like I am protected. And I've even in the last, and this might be helpful for some people working with their child self. Actually, I'm going to do a video soon on animal manifesting, because it has freaking changed my life. Like, and I've started doing this type of animal manifesting in the past 2 months, and it is so much easier and better for me, like, than this idea of like, focus on seeing yourself as your greatest self, like in the loft with the husband, you're on TV, see yourself, be that version of yourself, see it in your eye, like really go there, like feel it. And like, I'm like, I kind of don't know how that looks. And every time I think of my future husband, it has the avoidant ex in it who's there. And I'm like, but that's not the guy. Like, and then, I don't know. It just like doesn't do it for me. So then I started, this is what, I guess I'm giving you a taste of it, but the longer, bigger video about this, I started using, like, clearly I know a thing or two about what these animals represent. So I started really doing visualization journeys that honestly, with these animals, to like hype techno music and whatever your vibe is to listen to, and like going on these like visual journeys with the animal, becoming the animal, flying with the animal, riding the animal, like whatever. And there's specific animals I've been using, knowing that like, this is what you represent. Like, hardcore did this like all through April with Eagle, because Eagle is about embodying your freaking power, flying highs to the sun, like really owning that you are this freaking epically amazing thing. So I just started seeing myself flying with Eagle, being with Eagle. I'm walking down the street and I'm just walking with eagle wings. Like I see them as I walk down the street. So this next thing, one of the things I realized is that, the little girl version of me, has this best friend, White Buffalo, who is so like always like licking her entire face, and she like hates it but loves it at the same time. And like, they have this like, he just protects her, and it's her best friend, and they understand each other. And it's like, I let myself go there. So, in this, what I'm sharing with you, do this technique when I grow up. You might sound like, whatever, this is just like what my adult self wants. You keep doing it, your little kid voice is gonna sneak out with something it really needs. And then you can, sometimes just that realization of like, oh, I was so frustrated and I'm feeling all these things and I can't make the sales. My grown-up self can't do the sales things. I'm cock blocking it all. And like, at the core of it, I didn't feel safe. At the core of whatever that emotion was, I didn't feel protected. So, you know, when you find out what the core of whatever the block of your diamond shining is, you know, it's probably going to be a younger version of you, and you probably want to give them an animal friend that you stick them with. That animal friend, you stick them with that is their lifeline, that is their best friend, that is their guide, that is their protector. And it might feel so different, and please, this is just inspiration how you can use these animals, but your little kid is gonna love. Like, I guarantee they will absolutely freaking flip out to have an animal best friend. Because, like, how cool is that? Like, come on! So, the guidance. Doing the thing when you're triggered during this like leveling up that you are in the midst of, you can basically guarantee that it is a younger version of yourself. So you do the when I grow up affirmations, like when I grow up I am this, when I grow up I am that. Something will probably pop up. So then, you know, for me, when I grow up, after discovering like, I feel unprotected, I feel like, you know, there's still such a pang there about, you know, the universe gifting me with being molested. Like, like, really? But, you know, and let's be real, look what I did with that. I turned it into Animal Apothecary. Like, how freaking cool is that? So, you know, and that's the justice in our traumas, is that it is, you can use that twisted energy and spin it into gold, because Animal Apothecary, in my opinion, is freaking gold. It is so, and I'm going to give you a reading for this whole transformation you're in the midst of too before we end it. So anyways, I'm all over the place. Find your kid self a friend, an animal friend, just like, they will thank me for this. Like, come on, like they want one. And then if you're unsure, you know, if you're looking for bravery, if you're looking for whatever, I mean, honestly, you should get the card deck. Oh, I've been working so much with pigs dancing around me, and like they kick their back legs to the beat. It's so cute. But like, this is me working on my self-worth, self-love, self-value. And I have these coins just like going crazy outside me, like, and then I'm encircled by all these pigs just dancing. So the whole point of me sharing this with you is because all I know is that the medicine of me visualizing and working with these animals works. I don't have to envision the future self who's so embodied in her confidence and self-worth, and this is what she looks like, and she has a ring on her finger, and she's self-sustainable. Like, I don't know. Again, it just like feels like it's a story coming from my ego. But when I do it with the animals, I just know. And that's the other cool thing, is that there's no expectation. There's no desperation. Like, I need it to look like this, which I think our human limited perception, at least I know mine, has a very skewed understanding of everything. So like, why don't I just work with the animals that hold these powers, play with them, dance with them, go on visual journeys with them while listening to dope like beats, and they do their medicine, they do their magic, and it works. All right, so let's just get to your reading. Let's end this. We're gonna use both decks. So let's ask the animals just whatever wants us to know in the middle of this quantum jump. We're gonna ask the past self, the kid self, whatever love, whatever wisdom it wants to share with us. And then we're asking who we are becoming, open yourself, blossom open, like actually open right now, open if you can, open, 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 who we are blossoming into. And then just connect with your body. Just some wisdom and guidance from our bodies right now. All right, let's see what we got. God, this freaking chicken head card is following everywhere. Okay, let's start with the quantum jump. I love this. Our quantum jump wants to share with us that our highest self, Owl, comes to us as our highest self, is, even though we might feel we are in the dark, even though we might feel like we can't see what is 2 feet in front of us of how this thing is unraveling, it's because our highest self wants us to know that, like, we have our own backs, we are leading ourselves, we are not bringing ourselves into something that is not in alignment with us. We have our own back. That's what the quantum jump wants us to know. Our past self is saying you're safe to surrender, and in that surrender, then you receive. It's the holding on and needing to know that blocks the thing from getting it. It's the opening that allows you to get the thing. And that I love this because sea otters open their stomach to the sky, right? They open their stomach to light, to the sun. Sun represents source, creator, great mystery, God, whatever you want to call it. So that sun, it opens itself to the sun, whatever is lurking below. And this is saying there's a co-collaboration happening between you and life right now, and you have to trust life. I mean, I love that I'm doing this reading for me too. And my past self, who was earlier the past 3 days struggling with so much not that I didn't even realize that what was really going on was that I felt unprotected, and that shifting out of it and letting my child self use her voice and say what she felt, and now she feels better, and now she's like, you can trust, it's safe to trust that you can surrender and receive the who you are becoming. I always have to pull a second card to this. So I had a really interesting, so get out of your head. So thanks who I'm becoming, just being get out of your head. A interesting comment from someone from the May reading was talking about how if I'm remembering this correctly, chickens are the only birds that sing while standing in their feces. And it was something about this, all this stuff, but what it came down to was sound, and using sound to heal, and using and singing and using your voice. So even with this idea of this just being get out of your own head, right? That there's this now deeper message that a person sharing with me about this even more interesting, deeper symbolism of the chicken is singing in, if you're singing standing in feces, you're singing and you're using that sound to heal even when you're in that hard time. So whatever that means for you, if it means listening to certain music, if it means singing, using your voice, expressing yourself, there is something that I just feel that's what the future self actually is saying. Who you are becoming is asking you to, you are the sound, become the prayer. This is with the body tech deck. You already are the thing. The prayer in your heart manifests when you realize you are the prayer. You are the answered prayer. This is saying become the answered prayer. I just kind of skipped over this into this, but that felt it's you are this, the quantum jump that you are making right now is is actually all about you becoming who you've always wanted to become, which looks different than what you think, but you answer your prayer by becoming the prayer, by becoming the change you seek, by becoming the freaking prayer. And just one last card to end this video. I guess there's two. I love that. Inner conflict resolution. So this says you have to go through this annoying thing that seems like maybe poisonous or toxic, and it's actually the only way that leads to this victory. So like, maybe the past few days of me being completely blocked and me feeling just like even more downtrodden and more annoyed of falling back into the old headspace because I've done so much work not to, was really because there was a voice inside of me that was trying to speak, and I covered it up with all these like chicken head stories. I covered it up with whatever, and I just needed, right? The chicken sings in the hardships. The chicken sings while staying in its own crap. That I needed to use my voice. I needed to like let that out, like the thing about feeling not protected. And then it's like, I feel so much better. And then we have small steps, big accomplishments. It's like I saw this little turtle toy on the street. I've always had, listen, all these steps you've been taking this entire time are going to add up in a way in the future. And it could be a couple months, it could be a couple years, but it is like the biggest momentum, the biggest momentous, the biggest monumental change. And that it's, you don't have to make the big change right now. And that's even just like the quantum jump is sharing that. You don't have to like immediately be different. Just keep taking those steps, those little steps every day. They freaking add up. Okay, I love you so much. You can get my deck on Amazon. You can book a reading with me on my website. All that info is below. You can join my Trauma Gold workshop. I think it's only, I lowered the price just because like it should be for everyone. $33. It's 3 hours of just techniques and journeying yourself to transform your trauma into your greatest gift. Like I did it, like clearly I did it. So you can do it too. Info below. Definitely, if you've stayed this whole time, if you could leave a comment, if you could like and subscribe, like I'm really trying to build this thing here we call my YouTube channel. So if you felt this was helpful, please support me by supporting me. I love you. World peace for freaking ever.